morning! Welcome back to Children's Church. I'm so glad to have you here with me. Today's story is kind of long, so we're going to try and condense it down a little bit, so I'm only going to read a little bit from the Bible to set our story up, okay? Because last time I read a lot of it, and it was a lot. So today we're talking about the 10 plagues, or Moses with God's help trying to convince Pharaoh to let his people go. We're going to jump into Exodus chapter 7 and talk about Moses and his spokesperson Aaron, who is just as important to the story, trying to convince Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. The Lord answered Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother will be your prophet. You must say whatever I command you. Then Aaron your brother must declare it to Pharaoh, so he will let the Israelites go from his land. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. Pharaoh will not listen to you, but I will put my hand on Egypt and bring the divisions of my people of the Israelites out of the land of Egypt by great acts of judgment. 10 of them to be precise. The Egyptians will know that I am Yahweh when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites from among them." So Moses and Aaron did this. They did just as the Lord commanded them. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron was 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When Pharaoh tells you, perform a miracle, tell Aaron, take your staff and throw it down. Before Pharaoh, it will become a serpent." So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did just as the Lord had commanded. Aaron threw down his staff before Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a serpent. But then Pharaoh called his wise men and sorcerers, the magicians of Egypt, and they did the same thing by their occult practices. But Aaron's staff swallowed theirs. However, Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not listen to them as the Lord had said. All right, that was up to verse 13 in chapter 7, and now we're going to go through it kind of bullet point. I have a cheat sheet, so I'll do them all in order, so I teach you guys in the right order. The first plague God sent down was water into blood. Now, if you guys have ever seen Egypt depicted, you know that it's a pretty dry place. So they lived and died by the Nile. It's how they drank water, it's how they bathed, it's how they watered their crops. It was incredibly important. And God turned the water to blood. And Pharaoh said, okay, you can go, just turn the water back. But once the water of the Nile was clear again, Pharaoh said, "I changed my mind, you can't go." So then God sent a plague of frogs upon the land of Egypt. There's some debate about how many frogs there were, and I find that very funny, but we'll come back to that another time when we're just talking about theology. He sent a plague of frogs upon Egypt. They were everywhere, they ate everything. And Pharaoh said, okay, I'll let your people go, just get rid of the frogs. But once the frogs were gone, Pharaoh again said, "I changed my mind, you can't leave." So then God sent a plague of gnats or lice to attack the people of Egypt. But as with every plague, it passed over the land of Goshen, where the Israelites were. And a third time, Pharaoh said, "Okay, if you make the gnats go away, I'll set your people free." And once again, once it was gone, he said, "I've changed my mind. You can't go." Then God sent a plague of flies, which I do think is worse. It's worse. And once again, Pharaoh changed his mind. The plagues start getting worse from here. I'm just going to warn you. Then he sent a disease on the livestock, which meant they couldn't get milk, they couldn't get cheese, they couldn't eat meat, which, considering all the other things that had gone on, pretty devastating. And again, Pharaoh said, "Oh, if you just get rid of this, I'll let you go." But once again, Pharaoh's hardened heart betrayed him, and he once again said, "I've changed my mind. You can't leave." So then God sent unhealable boils upon the people of Egypt, not on his own people who were spared, just on the people of Egypt, until Pharaoh said, "Okay, get rid of them and you can go." But once again, his hardened heart failed him. And he again said, "I've changed my mind, you can't leave." Then God sent hail and fire upon the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh begged, "Oh, just get rid of it and I'll let your people go." But once again, the hardened heart God had given him betrayed him. And he said, "No, you cannot leave." Then God sent locusts. Now, I don't know if you guys know what locusts are. They're a type of grasshopper, and a swarm of locusts can empty a farmer's field for miles around in just a day. This would mean a famine in Egypt. And Pharaoh once again begged, "Oh, just get rid of them and I'll let your people go." But once again, his hardened heart failed him, and he said, "I changed my mind." And then darkness covered the land of Egypt. And only in the land of Goshen, where the Israelites dwelled, was it like bright day. And once more Pharaoh begged. And once more, once the plague was gone, his hardened heart failed him. And he said, "I changed my mind." And the 10th plague, the Israelites knew was coming. And they were instructed to put the blood of the lamb over their door, or they would not be spared. And every firstborn in the land of Egypt, even in the land of Goshen, who did not have blood over the lintel of their door, died. And finally Pharaoh said, "Go, take your people and go. I want nothing more to do with your God." And the people of Israel packed hurriedly. They didn't even have time for their bread to rise. They baked it flat. And they hurried out of Egypt. And then Pharaoh's hardened heart failed him again, and he chased after them. Now you guys know this story, the parting of the Red Sea, when the waters parted for the people of Israel to go through and clapped shut on Pharaoh's army. And no more could his hardened heart sway him against the people of God. He could no longer pursue them. And that's the story of the 10 plagues. It says in the Bible that God hardened Pharaoh's heart so all would see the signs. And I've never really understood that. But I can understand how a hardened heart could fail someone, could lead them to make the wrong decision after wrong decision. We know that God sent us Jesus to unhardened hearts, to free us from those kind of cycles, from those bad decisions and hurts. He wasn't here yet. Sorry to the Pharaoh of Egypt. But we have that. And what a joy we have in that. That's what I'd like you guys to remember for this week. And I will see you guys next week for another lesson.